Julian John on your left, Jim Forgus on your right. Smarter Vehicles, it's Merfolk. Let's see the other matchups are. Kevin King playing Lance against Joshua Hoffeld playing Death and Taxes. It's not great for Josh. And then Jonathan Rosum playing Humans, his favorite deck against Shane Remelt, former Open champion, playing Jeskai Control. And away, we are prepared to go. Round number 2 about to be underway here from Dallas. It looks like maybe Jim taking a mulligan here. Not sure. Maybe John. Looks like John's actually happy. But Marty Vehicles, the return of Marty Vehicles could be interesting here, folks. We forgot about Heart of Kirin, man.
Yeah, that's a very powerful card.
A good magic
very
card.
Powerful card.
Used to dominate the format.
It would not be my approach to this weekend. I think there will still be, given the Magic Online results, seem very promising for God Pharaoh's Gift, and that's a card that's a deck that you'd expect to be a little bit more popular because it's established and didn't lose anything to the bannings. I would just be worried about the number of Abrades. I'd be concerned about Abrade.
God Pharaoh's Gift is my deck to beat this weekend, and I actually am not concerned about the number of Abrades.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think
no, I'm speaking to playing vehicles. I'm not speaking.
Sure.
I'm not speaking to. I think you can play God's Pharaoh Gift and beat Abrade. I'm not arguing that's the case.
I just don't think Abrade's going to be that popular of a card this weekend. Maybe I'm really off base. I don't think the Team Energy is going to get played that much. Mono Red, I'm not sure how popular that's going to be, as there's a Metallic Mimic, of course, named Merfolk. Excommunicate Speaker died. And then Abrade is really good against some decks and horrible against others. Like Kevin Jones's Abrades in the last match we saw, horrible.
Right.
Horrible. This is an Aethersphere Harvester. Energy up to 2 there for Julian John. His Bomat career going to have to hang back a little bit here as we go back over to Jim Forgus. This is an island. And that is a Merfolk that makes a Merfolk. Wait for it. You see that deck list. Which one are you? I think Jungleborn. Yeah, Jungleborn Pioneer. Got it. New card from Rivals. Jungleborn Pioneer enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 blue Merfolk creature token with hexproof. So there we are.
A really good combo with Kamina.
Yes.
Because then you have the requisite number to draw cards.
That's correct.
And that is the thing you want to do.
That is what we like to call a combo.
Right. Something that requires 3 Merfolk, that is itself a Merfolk, along with a card that generates 2 Merfolk, is a combo.
So now Julian John with his Bomat Courier and his Harvester will play a Spire of Industry. That's a powerful magic card. Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Gonna minus that to take care of the Metallic Mimic. Metallic Mimic did do a nice job of bolstering up those Merfolk, but gonna fly over the Merfolk. Will the Aethersphere Harvester, paying energy to gain some life, and Julian John's able to keep the pressure on. Well, though the Chandra is gonna bite the dust now.
A little interested to see John at least not force Forgus to have another thing or lose one of his creatures to the attack. The 3 damage doesn't seem that relevant here. I think I would have preferred for John just to hang back with the Aethersphere Harvester and force Forgus to have something.
The Oasis into another Mimic. The follow-up, of course, a Mimic named Merfolk, will be a Merfolk. I believe that is Miscloaked Herald.
Is that the 1/1 unblockable?
I believe that is the case. We'll take a look here at some of our new Merfolk friends. There's Miscloaked Herald, 1/1 unblockable Merfolk Warrior.
Combo with the Metallic Mimic, because then it is twice as large and still unblockable.
Hazoret, a combo with no cards in hand.
Right.
Or at least very few. Bomat Courier is going to turn on Aethersphere Harvester, and now here comes Hazoret into the red zone. Many feeling that this might be one of the best cards in the standard. I know we would just watch the Scarab God dominate a match in the hands of Danny Jessup, but that Pro Tour Amonkhet champion, Jerry Thompson, he feels pretty strong about Hazoret and mono red strategies in general in the standard format, and it's pretty easy to see why. Hazoret making it look pretty easy right now.
Yep. And another reason that Vraska's Contempt, I think, is going to be a very popular card this weekend.
Yes. Julian John going to use an energy here, gain a little bit of life, pass the turn back. Let's go over to Jim Forgus, who's in some real trouble now.
And John's life total very comfortable right now with the Aethersphere Harvester having picked up a little bit. And he needs to stabilize kind of both zones here, because even if he's able to gum up the works on the ground, Aethersphere Harvester plus Hazoret triggers can burn him out of this game.
Yeah, it does not take much. Looks like Metallic Mimic might be considering some attacks. Actually, just these Merfolk. And they're here for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it looks like. So it looks like John might be falling down to 16 here. Let's see what the follow-up is. Okay. There's Kamina. Going to be turned into a 3-5. I'm going to pass the turn back.
You know, it'd be really good in this spot.
I think the card Unsummon.
Unsummon would be really good right now.
Good Magic card right now. Obnoxiously good. We'll see if Forgus actually has a copy in his hand or not. Let's see what this is. Veteran Motorist. Scry 2. The old 3-1 that we haven't seen for a little while. Going to put both those cards to the bottom. Pretty good with vehicles, of course, giving him +1/+1. So the Harvester will be a 4-6 now.
Although maybe a slight mistap there from John, as it looks like now activating his Hazoret will require either him to take a point of damage or spend his energy.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's going to require him to take. Yeah, it looks like he's going to use the energy. Yeah.
Yeah, but you would want it for the Harvester ideally. I think the tap there is probably Concealed Courtyard plus the Mountain.
Yeah.
Leave the Inspiring Vantage.
Well, that doesn't deal damage to creatures. License Disintegration does.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, never mind. Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah, none of that matters. None of that matters, yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah, because License Disintegration is a heck of a Magic card. Going to take care of Kamina and the rest of Jim Forgus' life total as Julian John is going to win game number 1 here over Jim Forgus. Mardu Vehicles very quickly up a game over Merfolk. See, the other players, they're still working on their matches, it appears. So when we do come back from this commercial break, we'll see if we can get you an update. But for now, a couple of words from our sponsors. Game number 2 about to be underway here in just a moment between Julian John and Jim Forgus, as Julian John very quickly won game number 1 with Mardu Vehicles. We take a look at the sideboard. We'll start with Jim, who's got 4 Negate, 3 Naturalize, 2 Admiral's Orders, 2 Death Gorge Scavenger, 2 Tempest Caller, and Essence Scatter, and, well, you know, life goes on.
So I think the 1 copy of Life Goes On here is fine if he thinks the game is going to be a damage race. Plenty of negate targets. Not sure you want to try to leave up that kind of mana, but certainly plenty of targets in John's deck. And you could argue for the Tempest Caller also, but it's a little bit tricky against a deck with equipment. It doesn't, or vehicles rather. I guess it does work the right way, right? Because they had to activate their vehicles in response to the trigger.
And then those get tapped too.
Yeah. All right, so Tempest Caller seems fine.
For Julian John, 3 Duress, 2 Abrade, 2 Fumigate, 2 Settle the Wreckage, and Ongarth, the Flame Chain, a Cast Out, a Chandra Torture Defiance, a Magma Spray, a Scavenging Grounds, and a Sweltering Sun, so a more controlling sideboard.
And I think he's going to want to flip it here, especially if Forgus isn't ready for it. The sideboard, pretty much everything, I think, except for the Duress is fair game. And, yeah, I just want to be big and slow, play a bunch of removal spells, and beat him with Planeswalkers.
Well, that looks to be the plan there for Julian John and the rest of his team, and Kevin King and Jonathan Rosum. We'll see if we can get an update on those scores in just a moment. But for now, let's talk about that StarCityGames.com newsletter, which you should be subscribed to if you're not, because it's your source for Magic the Gathering news. It's got a whole bunch of stuff going on there, P. Sully.
You can subscribe right now over at go.starcitygames.com/newsletter. It's your source for Magic the Gathering news with highlights from some of Star City Games' best articles, upcoming SCG tour dates and locations. You can find events like invitational qualifiers and game nights near you, an exclusive cardboard crack comic, and then best of all, signing up is free over at go.starcitygames.com/newsletter.
Game number 2 about to be underway between Julian John and Jim Forgus. Other matchups here, Jonathan Rosum with Humans, of course, in Modern, one of his favorite decks, against Shane Remelt, a multiple-time SCG Tour champion, playing Jeskai Control. Remelt had a lot of success in the Dallas area and surrounding cities with Miracles Legacy a couple of years ago. And then Kevin King always playing lands in Legacy against Joshua Hoffeld playing Death and Taxes. So it gives you an idea what those players are working with across all the formats, but our attention here, of course, is on Standard between Julian John with his Mardu Vehicles deck and Jim Forgus playing Merfolk. I know a lot of tribal fans out there hoping Merfolk does have a nice performance here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And then, of course, John putting Mardu Vehicles back on the map with cards like Heart of Kieran, Veteran Modist, and a removal spell that's really gone unnoticed recently as well because of Teamer Energy. Unlicensed Disintegration.
Yeah.
Busted card.
There's still a lot underneath the surface that might have been underrepresented or pinned down for a little while because of specific things going on in the format that are still extremely powerful. Unlicensed Disintegration, some of the vehicles, Hazoret, they definitely fit the bill. And if Forgus is not ready for this conversion sideboard, it is big time trouble. Because if he's leaving in his unsummons and bringing in Life Goes On, thinking the game is going to be a damage race, and Julian John's just all on Fumigates and Settle the Wreckages and Planeswalkers, that's a really bad spot to be at.
Going to have a bad time.
It's a bad time.
Yeah, if that happens, he's going to have a bad time. Forgus going to take a mulligan here as well. And while he prepares to take a look at 6 cards, let's talk about this RCDGames.com YouTube page, everybody, where you can find a whole bunch of things going on over there. We got Split Second. We got the Versus Series with Brad Nelson, Todd Anderson, Todd Stevens, Ross Merriam. We got Commander Versus with Jeremy Knowles, Stephen Green?
Yeah.
The American Dream, Stephen
American Dream, Stephen Green.
Justin Farnell and Jonathan Suarez, Magic Online Playtesting, Best of the SCG Tour, and a whole bunch more. Subscribe today at youtube.com/StarCityGames. Become one of over 120,000 subscribers. Thanks to each and every one of you. You can also watch replays of this tournament as well, like this match right now between Julian John and Jim Forgus. As it looks like Jim is happy enough with his 6 cards. Julian John ready to go. And we are underway here in game number 2. It's an unclaimed territory. I wonder what it's naming. Tell you what it's not naming. It's not naming humans. Stamp for Cedric. There you go. Concealed Courtyard there from John. Community Speaker going to come across here for 2. John going to fall down to 18. And for Jim, does he have a follow-up play? He does. It's another Community Speaker. Pass that turn back with an island at the ready. Over to Julian John will go. See what his second turn of the game yields. It's Inspiring Vantage and a Scrap Heap Scrounger. Not particularly good at blocking, but good in a longer game if we're going to go this control route.
Yeah, John's playing with a lot of removal, then this fits in, but it's a little awkward otherwise.
Community Speakers are going to come across there for 4. John going to fall down to 12. The follow-up here is Kamina. So go over to John. We will go. Does he have a removal spell for Kamina? The answer is yes. Unlicensed Disintegration plus an attack means it's 14 all very quickly. So we head back over to Jim, who will quickly untap his 5 permanents. Prepare to take his 4th turn of the game. Let's get in here for 4. John's going to fall down to 10. These players are moving pretty quickly. Must have a lunch reservation or something.
And this is the type of game I think Forgus wants to be playing here. Does not want to play a particularly long one. Which is why I'm a little surprised. If John didn't sideboard into the big stuff, that's fine. But if he did, I think the presence of Scrap Heap Scrounger is a little perplexing to me. I just want stuff that can block and trade.
Trade early, trade often, win the long game.
Yep. It's forcing him to kind of take this damage racing position. And you don't really want to do that with a bunch of 5- and 6-mana cards in your deck.
Here's an attack for 4 yet again. A Braid. He's going to take care of a Community Speaker. 2 will come across. John's going to fall down to 8. Does Forgus have a follow-up here? There's another copy of Kamina. Pass the turn back. So he does. Looks like Joshua Hoffeld with Death and Taxes won game number 1 against Kevin King in Legacy. So our Lance player who's had so much success here in the SCG Tour, especially in our team tournaments, down a game. As here comes Scrap Heap Scrounger again. A 3-2 into a 2-4.
Looks like Forgus thinking that the Kamina too valuable to risk.
Well, Fumigate is going to clean things up, and that's the bigger sideboard plan. John going to get a little bit of life back. And there's the Oasis from Forgus, and does not look like he has a follow-up. So we're going to head back over to Julian John, who will play another it looks like he will, of Scrap Heap Scrounger.
It's tough when you've mulliganed, played against a lot of removal, and then trying to beat this Fumigate. So it's a lot to ask.
And it looks like, as there's a Naturalize to take care of the Heart of Kieran, it looks like actually in Forgus' hand is a copy of Essence Scatter with no good targets.
Yeah.
He'll just pass the turn back.
That's the wrong one of those.
Yes.
You won the other one.
Yes, it is. Heart of Kieran, number 2, also not great.
Right.
Concealed Essence Scatter.
You need the other one.
You get it. You get it. This is a Metallic Mimic going to name Merfolk. Probably going to die in a minute. Yeah, Lightning Strike. Either going to target Jim or target his Metallic Mimic. Either way, Julian John's quickly untapping. That's a Pia Nalar. Essence Scatter finally gets to do something. Crew it up, get in for 4, and we are all done here. Julian John's going to win this match over Jim Forgus. 2-0 very quickly as Marty Vehicles going to destroy Merfolk. And really, to me, Patrick, that's a power level thing.
Well, also, I think the post-board set there that John had, that's a lot for Merfolk to get through. And mulliganing on the play, running into so much spot removal, flooding out a little bit, getting hit by a Fumigate. It's really hard for Forgus to come up with 20 points of damage when that stuff's happening.
I think I agree. So Merfolk, much like other tribal strategies, it's all about building a house of cards. You know, and if you're able to keep the house of cards up with a bunch of Merfolk and get Kamina going, all that stuff, the deck is going to be very good. We saw in those games, Kamina came down, it died immediately.
Yes, and it was very challenging for Forgus to set up a board, too. Kamina showed up and then never got to activate to draw a card or put counters on things. So just as a 2-4 for 3, that's not really something worth building a deck around. You've got to get the board set up and start leveraging the extra cards and the counters. And
the Martyr Vehicle is not actually a tribal deck, but in a way it kind of is because it does work together very nicely.
It's the artifact tribe.
Yeah.
It's the vehicle tribe.
Yeah.
There are definitely some synergies you have veteran motorist alongside vehicles. That's a thing. That's synergy.
Toolcraft Exemplar alongside artifacts.
Synergy.
Correct. Hazrat alongside having no cards in hand.
Cheap cards.
That's right.
Cheap cards and Hazrat. That's a tribe.
That's a tribe right there. That is a deck that built itself. The power level of the deck is very high, and it appears as though it might be back. I mean, it looked impressive in those 2 games. I will say that.
To me, it's a lot of it just comes down to Whirler Virtuoso. If it's not a prevalent card, then I think Martyr Vehicles is very, very good. But if Whirler Virtuoso is still a big part of the metagame post-bans, then Martyr Vehicles may not be the right choice.
Well, we're going to move over to Jonathan Rosum and Shane Remelt here in just a moment as the team of King, Rosum, and John up a game here over Hoffeld, Remelt, and Forgus. So congratulations to them. For Rosum, a player we can learn a little bit more about right now, who we're going to watch, a youngster from the Boston area. I actually had dinner with him yesterday at Velvet Tacos, suggested by Nick Miller. Had some good tacos and good conversation with a 19-year-old who primarily spends his time studying and playing Magic Online, which is the same thing I did when I was 19.
Minus the studying.
How dare you? Even though that's very true. Spencer Mass is where he's from. 4 open top 8s. He's looking for that win, though, something he definitely wants to accomplish here. He said he's going to be playing on the SCG Tour primarily this year. Was excited about this team tournament. Very excited to play Modern, which might be his favorite format, and very excited to play Humans. Very passionate about this deck. Even has some fun cards in his Humans deck this weekend. Kessig Malcontents. Do you remember that one?
I do not. I imagine it's an Innistrad card based on name, but I do not know.
Very true. The Malcontents is 2 colorless and a red, 3/1 when there's a battlefield. Dome your opponent for how many humans you have.
Ooh, combo with humans.
That is correct. Synergy, as you mentioned.
That's synergy.
That is a combo with humans. Also a combo with Phantasmal Image.
Yes.
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 You get it. You get it. Rosum telling me yesterday that Dark Confidant consistently underperforming for him, so he cut the Confidant from the main deck for the Malcontents, and actually has another copy of Malcontents in the sideboard.
Yep, Confidant dies a lot, and if the game goes long, it's not clear that you having a Confidant will beat whatever your opponent's up to.
Now, this matchup that he is against here in Jeskai Control, not great for humans. He knows that. He has won it before, but it's difficult.
But up a game.
Yes. As Rosum starting off with a Horizon Canopy into a Noble Hierarch for Shane Remelt. He started with a Celestial Colonnade. Now he's got a Scalding Tarn, and he's going to get himself a Steam Vent, so he's going to fall a little bit lower, but perhaps a Lightning Helix or something resembling that on the way. Remember, Jeskai Control won SCG Columbus a couple of weekends ago in the hands of Benjamin Nikolic, the innovator of the deck. Really put the deck on the map. His build of it, very, very controlling. Wins eventually. And we will see a Serum Visions here from Remelt, so he will draw a card. He will scry 2. Lots of removal in this deck, plenty of card drawing and manipulation, and you can win at your leisure with Colonnade, search for his Kanta, secure the waste, Sinks Revelation. Doesn't matter as long as you don't die right away. And there's a Lightning Bolt to take care of the Hierarch, so we'll head back over to Rosum now. It'll be Jonathan's second turn of the game. He'll draw a card. He has a Champion of the Parish. What he doesn't have is a second land. So this could be easy mode here for Shane Remelt.
Yep. And it looked like Rosum's hand has plenty of good 2s, a Freebooter and a Thalia, but really banking on that Hierarch sticking. Part of the thing is, When you're playing against a deck with so much removal and sweepers, you've got to keep some sketchy 7-card hands because you just need every individual card to matter to be able to fight through all the removal.
Rosum going to name Human with the Cavernous Souls. And here's a Thalia, Guardian of Thraidman. Going to pay a life to do it thanks to the Rising Canopy. Going to fall down to 17 to play the powerful 2-1. And we'll see if Remelt does have a response. He'll play a Snapcaster Mage, going to Lightning Bolt the Champion of the Parish. Thalia's going to slide onto the battlefield. Back over to Shane will go. It'll be his 4th turn of the game. He'll draw a card. Cryptic Command in Shane's hand right now, but that's going to cost 5 mana thanks to the Thalia. Here's a Serum Visions that costs 2, so he'll draw a card. And now Remelt will scry to him. Again, remember, Shane Remelt has won Opens in the past. His teammates aren't the biggest names on the team, but Shane obviously trusts them in their judgment. And perhaps he'll be the leader of this squad as they work their way towards potentially a top 8 here this weekend in Dallas. Colonnade will be the land, and we'll head back over to Rosum, see if he can find a 3rd land. Looks like he picked up a black card. Here comes Thalia, 2-1 first strike. Attack a little flourish there from the 19-year-old. The follow-up is a freebooter. Snapcaster Mage, Cryptic Command, Path to Exile, and a Scalding Tarn. That's the hand that Remelt is working with. Probably just take the path here, Patrick.
That would be my instinct.
Yeah.
Holding up Cryptic is really cumbersome against Thalia.
And he will select Path to Exile with the freebooter. Rosum will write down the rest of those cards. We're going to head back Shane Remelt's way. Remelt will draw. Picked up a copy of Flooded Strand. Snapcaster Mage not afraid to attack. No good blocks for it, of course. So Rosum is going to fall down to 14. Remelt just trying to figure out which land he wants to play here as land number 5, I suppose. Or perhaps he'll just go to Snapcaster Mage plus Serum Visions.
Yeah, if he knows he's not going to Cryptic, then it makes sense to do it this turn. The cost, of course, is that now the shields are down and Rosum can easily add to his board without threat of getting Cryptic.
Electrolyze is the card that is on top of the deck here for Shane Remelt. So we're going to head back over to Jonathan Rosum. Not working with a lot of lands here is Rosum, but this deck doesn't need a ton of lands to work with. You see his hand, at least 1 copy of Meddling Mage. He's got a Phantasmal Image, a Zathrid Necromancer, Mantis Rider as well.
But still stuck on 2. And I believe his draw step was a Meddling Mage, not a 3rd land.
Looks like Freebooter ready to roll, and Thalia going to play a little bit of defense here. The first strike from the Guardian of Thraidman certainly does matter to John right now. And here is Meddling Mage. We'll see what it names.
I assume it's Cryptic Command as he knows about it.
That would be my best guess as well. But we will get confirmation in just a moment as we head back over to Shane Remelt. Remelt picks up that copy of Electrolyze I did mention, and now it is confirmed that Meddling Mage, Chris Pakula, of course, is naming Cryptic Command. Remelt will play a Flooded Strand, simply pass the turn back as we head back over to Rosum. Rosum will take a draw step here, still on the hunt for land number 3. Slow roll himself a little bit, found an unclaimed territory. Job well done there, Jonathan.
Cavernous Soul is not naming Eldrazi or Elves is on my board.
Yeah, you get it. Nick did make these easy. Jeez. Come on, man.
We still, I mean, we haven't had bingo once. Oh, this is going to be a really bad champion of the parish.
Not my favorite champion of the parish.
This is going to be bad.
Joshua Hoffeld, by the way, he beat Kevin King 2-0, so Death and Tax is taking care of lands. So it all comes down to this.
This is going to be a mighty fine Electrolyze.
Yeah, this Thalia's Lieutenant. Looking to pump up the jam here on a couple of creatures. And Thalia's Lieutenant's still pretty good right now.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's not the end of the world here, but Remelt is going to get to kill 2 things and draw a card for his trouble.
Should get to kill Thalia and Champion of the Parish if he'd like. Could also consider just killing Meddling Mage right now, but it's hard to pass up on the 2-for-1. Oh, Spellqueller. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with the Spellqueller this turn, he still untaps and the Electrolyze is still great. And the Thalia's Lieutenant is a lot of pressure.
Remelt will now sacrifice the Flooded Strand and the Scalding Tarn, so it looks like he's going to fall down to 12. Spell Queller being a 2-3 right now, pretty gosh darn good.
Yeah.
A Hollowed Fountain and a Steam Vents there for Remelt will enter the battlefield tapped. And we are going to head back over to Shane here with his 6 mana Electrolyze in hand. Remember, Electrolyze is going to cost 4 because of the Thalia, and he also has Cryptic Command in hand. A new card coming here for Remelt. Another copy of Cryptic Command. Different art, same card though.
It's interesting because that sort of increases the incentive now to get the Meddling Mage off the battlefield rather than the Thalia and the Champion of the Parish.
Very true. It's also weird too, because in a weird way, you kind of want to kill the Freebooter to unlock the path.
That's an option too, yeah.
To set off kind of a chain of events here. So some real decision making here. Meddling Mage making things a little bit difficult. So you see the team there of Hoffeld, Remelt, and Forgus. A little team up here. Electrolyze going to ding these creatures. And away they go. New card coming here for Remelt. Lightning Helix, not a bad draw.
Lightning Helix is perfect.
Yes.
The thing that Remelt really wanted here was a removal spell for the Meddling Mage. It unlocks the Cryptics, and now you see Rosum's life total going from 12 to 6, and it's going to be really hard for him to add enough to his battlefield to survive the attacks plus the Cryptic commands.
Mantis Rider the draw, Mantis Rider the play. Going to fall down to 5, will Rosum. He'll come across here with the Flyers. And yeah, they can. Yeah, I think you just
multiple paths to win the game from here.
Blow up the Meddling Mage. Yep. Cryptic tap your squad. Rosum knows he's dead. He'll pick up the card. So Shane Remelt's going to win game number 2 here over Jonathan Rosum. No handshakes just yet, I don't think. I think we still have a third game to play.
Yeah.
At least I believe we still have a third game to play. We can confirm really quickly.
Julian John, always the pessimist.
Yeah. so we lose. Then?
So we lost.
So we lost. No.
Yeah.
Rosum's going to go to the drawing board. He'll be on the play here for game number 3, and while we wait for game number 3, we're going to, I think, prepare for a couple words from our sponsors if we can. So here they come. All right, we ready? We ready? We back. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, game number 3 for the match. Between Jonathan Rosum and Shane Remelt will be underway here. It's humans, it's Jeskai Control. We're in modern right now. We had our standard match. Julian John won real quick over Jim Forgus. Martyr Vehicles destroyed Merfolk. And then Death and Taxes did a nice job of taking care of Kevin King and his lands deck. Now it looks like Remelt going to go to the drawing board here and take a look at 6 cards. So while he does that, I want to talk about game night, man.
Let's talk about it.
That's our favorite promotion after all. And we are here in the month of January. I almost said June, but we're in the month here of January, which means it's string theory.
And you get over to go.crcgames.com/game night to find out more information. Every month we come out with kits with new pins and tokens we send into the stores that are signed up for game night. Stores can then run game night however they want to, any day of the week, any format. Just get players in your store on a regular basis for some fun and friendly magic. January, as Cedric mentioned, is string theory. We have a couple more kits ready to show off for the upcoming months. February, the Fast and the Curious. And then in March, the Two-Toed Spectacle. Again, go.starcitygames.com/game night. Find the game night closest to you in stores. If you want to get signed up for game night, contact your Star City Games in-store player representative.
It looks like Shane is happy with his hand. We're underway here for game number 3. It's a Cavern of Souls naming Human. Noble Hierarch is where things will begin. Rosum kept 7. Remelt looks to be on 6. It's a good matchup for Jeskai Control, especially after sideboard. It's just point and click, kill all the things. Remelt was able to do that in game number 2. We'll see if he can do it in game number 3 on a mulligan, as there's a Scalding Tarn. Shane going to fall down to at least 19. We'll see how low he wants to go. Probably 17. I'm smelling the steam vents. He's going to dig through that deck. It's actually a Sacred Foundry. And you see Rosum has put his Noble Hierarch in the graveyard. There is the Lightning Bolt to take care of it. I remember Rosum in the last game was operating just off of 1 land, kept a hand with Noble Hierarch. It died. And then Rosum wasn't able to jump out of the gates very quickly, though it appears as though he does have a few more lands this go around. He will draw a card.
Although very important for him to not flood out, because he needs everything. He's in the, that's the challenge of the matchup. He needs to come out fast enough to actually pressure Remelt and then draw enough threats to weather the removal. So he kind of needs to go 1, 2, 3 and then stop on his lands. That's the ideal setup.
Meddling Mage to play now. We'll see exactly what Rosum wants to name in the dark here in this matchup. Looks like he's going to go with Path to Exile. Makes some sense if Remelt was searching up a Sacred Foundry instead of a Steam Vents.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's, you're kind of guessing anyway, but you know he has 4 copies, and going and getting a Sacred Foundry there instead of a blue dual land, as you mentioned, I think it suggests that Path is more likely than usual.
Serum Visions here. Path in hand now for Remelt, by the way. So pretty good name there from Jonathan Rosum. Serum Visions is done resolving. We're going to go back over to Rosum. He'll draw a card. In for 2 comes the Meddling Mage. The follow-up is Sin Collector.
This is a nice one.
Yes, it is. Now, Shane Remelt might have a response, and it appears as though he does not. So we take a look. Path to Exile is going to get exiled. Couple of lands, and it looks like Pia and Kieran Nalar, I believe, is the hand. You take a look at Sin Collector. It's a 3-mana, 2/1 human cleric. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You may choose an instant or sorcery card. You don't make them discard it. You make them exiled. It's gone for good.
No Snapcaster Mage implications.
We're going to head back over to Remelt now. He's drawn a copy of Spell Queller. He'll play a land very quickly and simply pass the turn. Rosum, pretty bright kid. We'll see if he is going to be able to play around the Spell Queller, because a 2/3 with no text is good right now.
Yep, and it's suspicious too, because Remelt with a Colonnade in hand, he must have drawn something that costs 3, and it's not a Geist because he would have cast it on his turn. So
it's a Thaya's Lieutenant, which has just gotten swallowed up. It even went through the Cavern of Souls, but Spell Queller does not care about Cavern of Souls. It'll eat that right away, and now Rosum with no good attack. So a great Spell Queller there as we head back over to Shane Remelt. We know he's got 4th land plus Pia and Kieran Nalar. It's just a question of if he wants to do it this turn. First, he'll start by attacking for 2 in the air. There's a Scalding Tarn. Now this build of Jeskai Controller Remelt is playing a little bit more creature dense, unlike Nikolich's version. Shane Remelt going with the Geist of St. Traps, the Spell Quellers, of course Snapcaster Mage. And it's actually a version of the deck that Jonathan Rosum has had a lot of success with. Much more creature heavy and much more tempo oriented. There are your Thopters, sort of. As now, Rosum will draw a card off of the Horizon Canopy. Looks like he is floating out a little bit here, Patrick.
And he can't really afford to do that. As mentioned before, it's very important for him to have every single card count.
This is an Ether Vial. Cavern of Souls is going to name something here. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Illusion, but we'll get confirmation. And it appears to be an oldie but a goodie here in Reflector Mage in just a moment. And it will be Reflector Mage. Gonna bounce a Spell Queller. Now Lieutenant's gonna come down right away, of course. Those humans will get larger, which means they're clear for takeoff. And this is actually not a bad turn here for Rosum.
No, this looks pretty good. Because I think things get so much better for Remelt next turn if he has his mana up when he makes his blocks, it wouldn't surprise me if he just takes this hit.
He's got some life to work with.
He's got a little life to work with. He's not really at risk of getting burned out here. And I think that, although it looks like he might be trying to put something together here.
Well, I do think he may have another copy of Pia and Kieran in hand.
Oh, then if that's the case, then yeah. Then trade off the Pia for whatever. If you're going to lose it to the Legend Rule anyway, that's fine.
So Chandra's Parents will trade with Sin Collector. 3 damage will come across. Remelt's going to fall down to 11. 2 Thopters left over. Spell Queller in hand. And it looks like another copy of Pia and Kieran as these players do sort out the life totals here very quickly. Make sure they're all on the same page. That'll be Rosum's turn, of course. Now you say doesn't want to get burned out. Kessig Malcontents is not a card you normally see in the human strategy that Rosum is playing with, as these players are going to make sure they have the right life totals here with the fetch lands and the damage that's been dealt, all that good stuff. Kessig Malcontents, a card we'll take a look at. Just in the off chance that it comes up, I know it's not a card we oftentimes see in Modern, didn't even really see it in Standard format, but the 3-mana 3/1 Human Warrior from way back when it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to target player equal to the number of humans you control.
Although it's arguable, this might be the first thing you take out against a deck with so much removal and sweepers.
True.
But yes, Remelt, if he's not expecting it, and it's still in Rosum's deck, this could come up.
More Thopters here for Shane Remelt as a second copy of Pia and Kieran will come onto the battlefield. We're going to head back over to Jonathan Rosum. Now he'll draw a card, picked up a copy of Mantis Rider, it appears, which is not a bad draw, actually. Horizon Canopy is going to let him cycle. Champion of the Parish is going to come through the vial here first. Going to pump up the Lieutenant. And now here's the Mantis Rider, which will pump up the Lieutenant and the Champion. Good sequencing there. This is a deck that Rosum has been playing on Magic Online a lot, trust me.
Yes. And he is out. He had no cards in hand. So his presence on the battlefield is great here. Definitely outsizing what Remelt has going on. Hard to imagine Rosum beating any sort of sweeper from this spot.
And you really do see some of the power of Horizon Canopy in this deck. A little bit of mana fixing, but cash it in, more cards. It allows this deck to play so few lands.
Yep.
And it allows it to hopefully flood itself on actual cards as opposed to lands. So you got a 3/3 Meddling Mage coming in, naming Path to Exile, a 3/4 Reflector Mage, which bounced Spell Queller, a 3/3 Thalia's Lieutenant, and a 3/3 Mantis Rider. 2/2 Champion of the Parish can't attack yet, but you have to imagine it will be next turn against a battlefield of 4 1/1 Thopters and a 2/2 Pia and Kieran Alar. And Jonathan Rosum, he's drinking his Coke because, well, I can't really do anything else.
I'm spent.
Yeah,
this is what I have.
This is what I'm going to do now and probably for the next couple of turns and hope you can't do anything.
Yeah, so the decision here now is, does Remelt block like he is going to try to make any inroads on the board, or is he just going to use his blockers to preserve his life total and try to draw to some sort of sweeper? And it just depends on how helpless you think your circumstances are. He has, looking now for sweepers here, he does have a Supreme Verdict and Engineered Explosives, which would also be very good here. If he thinks he can kind of win a fair fight, if he's drawing to normal cards in his deck that let him catch up, then go ahead, block to try to manage the table a little bit. If you think you're only drawing to a sweeper, then save your Thopters just to chump block to try to squeeze out an extra draw step or two. And it looks like the block here from Remelt is making some inroads on the board. What this does is it gets the 2s off the battlefield, so now Remelt is drawing to engineered explosives in a big way because he's left Rosum with a lot of 3s.
Well, that's what he just drew.
That'll do.
That's the card he just drew. Unbelievable. There
Paid.
is EE.
Paid.
Very nice blocks from Shane.
Cleared off the 2s, can sweep up the 3s. He's still very low. I mean, he's not quite out of it just yet.
But that was nice play there by Remelt. Rosum has drawn his card for the turn. I think it may have been a copy of Reflector Mage. Did not get a great look at it.
He would really like to have a 1 or a 2 to pump the champion to perish without playing into the engineered explosives.
EE is going to blow up the 3s. It was Thalia. Okay.
Great. That's a great draw.
That is a great draw.
Put something on the table. The mana might matter here, and now lethal is coming from 2 different threats. It's going to be a very humans win here, doing just enough.
Just barely crossing the finish line.
Just enough.
Snapcaster Mage. What is down there? Is there a Lightning Helix down there? I don't think so.
There's a Bolt.
Bolt's going to kill Champion.
Bolt gets him to the next turn. Land number 6 allows him to leave up a Colonnade.
We'll see if he ever gets to Spell Queller territory. Reflector Mage is a game winner, so is Manish Rider. Freebooter's not horrible.
Depends on the hand. The problem is if Remelt gets on tap, he just has a 2-3.
Yeah.
Checking your 2-1.
We're going to go to the draw step. I had a feeling we would. Freebooter in the draw step. Does this count as playing a spell in the draw step? Actually, it says spellcast in the draw step. That does not count. Vialing in a creature.
But this counts. This counts. If he's got.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, play a spell.
You get it. There's
a Path to Exile on the Thalia. Yeah, buddy. Bing on the bingo board. Row C for Cedric looking pretty good. Freebooter against Spellquellers, not looking good for Rosum.
Can't make an attack and can't cast anything. He's still got the Vial, so he can work it that way. But those Spellquellers in Remelt's hand, very good right now.
I think that Vial might tick its way on up to 3. Rosum's got a lot of good 3-mana spells in his deck after sideboard. Probably the best one of the bunch right now, however, is Mantis Rider.
Yeah, you kind of just need a big thing. Because a lot of your 2s still can't attack through a 2-3.
Up to 3 we go. Rosum. Just waiting for the green light to see if he can draw a card yet. All right, he's been given it. Well, Horizon Canopy cycles. Heck of a magic card. Another Horizon Canopy. Go ahead. He'll see 2 fresh ones in a bit. Spellcrawler's going to come down right now. Smart play there from Shane. Get the 2-3 on the battlefield now.
Yeah, Remelt would like to start applying a little bit of pressure here.
Shane will just pass the turn back. Rosum picked up a copy of Ancient Ziggurat. Cycled another Horizon Canopy. Draw a card. Looks like he may have been a copy of Thalia. He'll pass the turn back. Is it time for another Spell Queller? Shane's other card in hand is Spell Snare, I believe, which stinks.
Yeah, basically a dead draw.
Yes. Cryptic Command, not a dead draw.
I kind of wish Remelt was attacking.
Rosum just picked up a copy of Kessig Malcontents.
Sweet. That's going to be a good way for this one to end.
Here's a Thalia. And you got to remember, when we talked yesterday, he's like, part of the reason I'm playing this card is because it's Dark Confidant has underperformed. And now he's just trying to pick his spots. And yep, Shane has no idea. Here comes Cryptic Command. We will have a response. Kaboom! Kessig Malcontent's going to win the game and match for Jonathan Rosum, as he'll win this game and match over Shane Remelt 2-1. So the team of Kevin King, Jonathan Rosum, and Julian John getting paid off for that hard work on Magic Online by Rosum rhymes with awesome, which I guess you could say Kessig Malcontents gets the W.
Yeah.